And I like to have a theme every Christmas if I can. And I go up in the loft. Yeah, I'm Santa's helper. Doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Makes me feel taller, then I don't have to comb my hair either. So if you go up in my loft, up in the garage, I've got a box of Santa decorations, snowman decorations, bird decorations, I did pig decorations. One year I did my whole Christmas tree in pigs, because I was rather fond of pigs at that time. So I love Christmas, and this year we have 2 kittens, little kittens who've never seen a Christmas tree. And so my husband and daughter say, don't put up a Christmas tree. It won't be there for long. It'll be tipped over. And I said, no, I have a plan. Just see, there's this big hook where I hang a really heavy plant on the ceiling. So I weighted the bottom of the Christmas tree down with lots of stones and rocks. And then I tied the Christmas tree to the ceiling. And I put all cloth decorations on it, and those cats are having a ball. I get up and the tree jiggles and it rings, and I put bells on it, and it's fabulous. But that's my theme this year, cat tree. When I was a little girl, we used to make our own decorations. There's lots of neat traditions. You probably had traditional decorations, things that you did when you were a little kid too. And there are all kinds of neat traditions from all over the world. For example, in Ireland, and I am Black Irish, the children put a candle in the window to wait for St. Nicholas to come. And they light a candle. In Syria, and you don't think much about the country of Syria having Christmas, but they do. There are many Christians in Syria, and this year, Syria is not a very happy place. So I'm hoping that they will have a happy Christmas this year. And they have the neatest tradition. The children believe that the smallest camel that was in the wise man's entourage brings the gifts. So they put their shoes out outside the door on Christmas Eve, and they tuck hay and straw and fruit into their shoes for the camel. So hoping that that camel will leave them neat gifts. I thought, gosh, that's kind of a fun tradition, a fun idea about Christmas, isn't it? Now, yeah, in Germany, have you ever heard of the Christmas pickle? The Christmas pickle? Anybody have a Christmas pickle? No. Oh, man. Julie's got a Christmas pickle. She's got lots of pickles. Anyway, the Christmas pickle, you're going to pickle. Nobody can come up with a reason why a pickle was chosen as a Christmas decoration for the tree. But the story of putting the pickle on the tree and why you do it is really fun. The pickle is hung on the tree, and it's kind of hidden. And the first child that finds that pickle gets an extra present. Now somebody hung a pickle on my tree. I guarantee I'd be the first kid to find that pickle. I would. I love the idea of putting a pickle on a tree. Oh, gosh darn, I got one right in my hat. So now I can hang that on the tree over there. Now, Poland, and sometimes people say the Ukraine, they have a really neat tradition too. Oh, yeah. Now their tradition has to do with spiders and spider webs. Can you imagine hanging spider webs and spiders on your Christmas tree? It's really a neat story though. The thought is that in the Ukraine, that the Christ child would visit each house on Christmas Eve to check on the children. And this was really an important evening for everyone. The Christmas tree didn't go up until Christmas Eve. The children were all tucked in bed when the parents would put that Christmas tree up. Well, there was one family where the mother spent the entire evening cleaning the house and cleaning because heaven forbid the Christ child should come and visit her house and find a speck of dirt or dust or anything in the house, cobwebs, spider webs, whatever. So she cleaned and cleaned and cleaned after she had tucked those kids in bed, put the tree up, and decorated it beautifully. Well, while she was in the midst of cleaning and sweeping, she swept all those spiders into another room and closed the door. And then she went off to bed. hoping that the house was just sparkling and beautiful. So when the Christ child arrived, he would be pleased and then would visit with her children, and it would be a wonderful Christmas the next day. Well, the Christ child did arrive, and he was quite pleased with all the cleanliness of this house, but he kept hearing this chattering and rattling and scratchy noises in the other room, and he decided to check and see what was in there, and he opened up the door, and all those little spiders came out, and they were so excited to go up that tree, and they climbed up that tree, and they spun their little webs the whole time. Up the tree they went until when the Christ child looked at that tree, it was completely covered with spider webs. And he thought about it, and he said, oh, that mother worked so hard to get rid of all those spider webs and cobwebs. She's not going to like this at all. And so he turned them all to gold and silver. And that's why we have tinsel. Oh. Which, by the way, you can't buy tinsel anymore. You know, it's really hard to find. My husband takes tinsel. I saved it back. I've got tinsel from 8 years ago because I could never find it. And that's the only part of the Christmas tree he decorates, but no tinsel this year with kittens. And he takes one piece at a time. It takes him hours to put tinsel on a tree. But let me tell you, it is a work of art when he completes that tree. It's just fabulous. And then when we take the tree down, guess who gets to take it off? One piece at a time. But when I was a child, we put our Christmas tree up on Christmas Eve too. And a lot of times people have their trees up at Thanksgiving now. But we waited till Christmas Eve. And we had one of those big old Sears houses that was square, and it was 4 rooms here and 4 rooms upstairs. And you walked in, and that first room was a front hall, and the stairway went up here. So Christmas Eve morning, Dad brought the tree in and set it up. We hung all 6 of our stockings on that stairway behind the tree, which sat right in front of it. And then we all went to the dining room. We covered the dining room table with newspaper. And each child sat at one of the chairs, 5 girls and 1 boy. We all got a piece of wax paper and a bowl in front of us where we sat. Mother brought in a bowl of flour and a bowl of salt and some water in a pitcher. And we had a measuring cup. And we passed that bowl of salt around, and each child took a cup of salt and put it in their bowl. And then we passed around the flour, and each child took 2 cups of flour. Now, Mom didn't check to see if we were measuring it right. This was a test to see if we could be accurate and focus on what we were doing. Did you pass the water around, and we had to come up with 3/4 of a cup of water. And we would stir and stir and stir, and when we couldn't stir anymore, we stuck our fingers into that homemade clay, and we kneaded it and kneaded it and kneaded it and kneaded it. And we had rolling pins, and we rolled it out. And each child had something to roll with. It might have been a glass, it might have been a rolling pin, but we rolled that clay out, and then Mom passed around the cookie cutters. Now generally they were stars, because if you got something real complicated like a Santa Claus or an angel, sometimes it broke. So we kept it simple, round ornaments and stars. And we would all cut out our clay ornament. Now the next thing that happened was a toothpick. Toothpick went around because we would take that ornament and we would put a hole in it, because that's where we were going to string the ribbon for the ornament. So the hole is punched. Next comes a cookie sheet. And it's passed around, and each child picks up their ornaments and puts them on the cookie sheet. And into the oven they went. They had to bake, and we had to wait and wait until our cookie cutter clay ornaments were all done. Now, my mother was an artist. How lucky were we that our mother was an artist. And she brought out all of her paints and put them in the middle of the table. And the ornaments came out of the oven, each child with their own set of ornaments. And we waited till they cooled, and then we got to paint. Now, we got to mix our own paints. If we wanted to have green, we had to take some blue powder and some yellow powder and stir it all together and make our own paint. What a lesson we had in making Christmas ornaments. We did. We learned our colors and where they came from. We learned shapes and sizes. We learned to measure and use numbers. But most of all, we worked together as a team to make decorations every single year for our Christmas tree. And then it was ribbon time. My favorite part, I love the ribbon part, because we used that Christmas ribbon that you could curl with a pair of scissors, and it wasn't very often. Mom let all 6 kids have a pair of scissors at one time. And we would string our ribbon through and tie it, and then you'd take the cord and it would just curl up, and just loved it. And when we were all done and everything was all cleaned up, then we hung our ornaments on the Christmas tree. And that was the best part of Christmas. The Christmas tree stayed up until Little Christmas on January 6th, when we took it down. And by that time, those clay ornaments had been through a lot. And they were sometimes crumbly, some were broken, but the ones that were still whole were gently wrapped up and tucked away, and hopefully will be there again next year. And that was my favorite part of Christmas as a child, being able to make those ornaments and share them with all of my sisters and my brother. Merry Christmas.